guys, it's Julie Spencer, author of the Buxton Peak series. We're working our way through Buxton Peak, the early years, and coming into chapter 20. I hope that you're liking these videos and that you will give them a thumbs up and share them on social media so others can see them too. And subscribe to my channel so that you'll know when the next videos are coming out. Okay, Buxton Peak, the early years, chapter 20, Not So Good Morning. Brother Taylor, a sweet voice interrupted Ian's daydream. All he wanted was to escape this after party and head up to his suite. He was growing tired of being hit on by girls claiming to be members of the church. The party reminded him of a few weeks right after the people of Edinburgh had found out and discovered his identity, and every girl for miles around requested missionaries come teach them the gospel. They weren't really interested in hearing more about Jesus. They just wanted Ian to come to their house. Now that he was back here and the band had just performed at the Hydro Arena, girls swarmed the after party with the same conniving attitude. He forced another fake smile and turned to a somewhat familiar face. Where have I met you before, he thought. I was hoping to have the opportunity to thank you for the autographs you gave to my father last year, she said. Strawberry blonde hair, light dusting of freckles, friendly smile, light blue eyes. Elizabeth? Wow, you look so much like your mom. Ian wrapped Bishop Roberts' daughter in his arms without even thinking. He'd seen her in photographs with pigtails and cute little school uniforms at the Roberts home, but she was a university student now and all grown up. Oh my gosh, it's so good to finally meet you. Your dad was my favorite bishop. Your mom makes the best sticky toffee pudding. Yes, she does. Elizabeth patted him on the back, then pulled away, putting some distance between them. Call me Lizzie, please. Only my parents call me Elizabeth. Sorry, I didn't mean to hug you. Ian felt mortified. I just became a little nostalgic for a minute there. Are your mom and dad here? Ian craned his neck to search the crowds. They left right after the concert. Lizzie also seemed to be scanning the crowds. I actually have a favor to ask. Anything? Did I just say anything, he thought? Oh crap, what did I just get myself into? I was hoping you'd introduce me to Kai. Really? Kai Burton? Ian shoved his hands in his pockets. Yeah, unless you have some other lead guitar player named Kai. She was teasing him. No, I just didn't expect someone like you to be interested in... Ian was putting his foot where it didn't taste very good. Sure. Let me just figure out where he is. Kai was easier to find than most people because he usually wasn't far from Ian's side. Tonight was no exception. Within seconds, Ian picked out Kai's laughter amongst a group of giggly girls behind him. Ian turned around and caught Kai's attention immediately. Kai must have picked up on something in Ian's expression because his smile changed and he dismissed the surrounding harem without a second glance and strode with purpose over to Ian. What is it, pal? Kai asked, taking Ian's elbow. Everything okay? You look upset. No, Ian cleared his throat and coughed. Nothing's wrong. I just have someone who wanted to meet you. This is Lizzie Roberts, Bishop Roberts' daughter. Do you remember? Remember the girl who was away at university and would have liked to have met us when we came to visit you on your mission? Kai finished Ian's sentence and stepped closer to Lizzie, already completely enthralled in her eyes. Yep, that's the one. Ian bit his tongue against all the warnings he wanted to shout. The problem was he wasn't sure who to shout at, Lizzie or Kai. Neither of them would have heard Ian speak anyway. They were already caught up in a conversation about Kai's fantastic solo in that last song, and whatever beer was on tap, and soft laughter, and her hand on his arm, and those flirtatious eyes. They didn't even notice when Ian stepped away and strode from the room. Whatever. Ian awoke to an empty bed and a quiet room. Where is everybody, he thought. Man, I must have passed out early. What time is it? He stretched and looked around, disorientation giving way to the realization that Ian wasn't sure where his mates had slept. He could tell it was morning from the sliver of light penetrating the closed drapes of his hotel room. Remembering that all of them were holding some variation of Irish beers in their hands when he left the party the previous night, he was glad they'd found somewhere else to sleep off their hangovers. Ian didn't have to look far. Gary and Andy were both passed out on sofas in the common room of the suite. The other bedroom door was closed. Kai. He didn't come sleep next to Ian like he usually did. That couldn't possibly mean. No, please no. Ian didn't think. He strode straight over for the opposite bedroom and tried to open the door. Locked. He knocked on the door, panic flooding his heart. Please no. Ian felt the corners of his eyes prick and his knees grew weak. He knocked again. What do you want? Kai grumbled, and Ian could almost picture him stretching and rolling over. Kai, what are you doing, mate? Ian felt desperation. Please be alone, please be alone. He already knew in his heart that Kai wasn't alone. Why else would he have locked his door? Ian slumped against the door frame and slid to the floor. He heard a familiar female voice whispering on the other side of the door. No, he thought. He wanted to scream. Ian felt sick and hoisted himself off the floor, bolting from the room. He pulled open the door to the suite and ran down the hall, not caring where he was going or who saw him in his pajama bottoms and bare feet. He ran and ran until he found an empty stairwell at the end of the hallway. Throwing open the door, he bolted down 2 flights of stairs before tripping and crumbling to the floor in the corner of the stairwell. Ian pulled his knees to his chest and laid his head on his knees. He was shaking, too numb to even cry. Kai and Lizzie? No, please God, no. Ian? He lifted his head to a familiar voice. Jeremy? Ian's mouth felt like cotton. How long have I been here? He thought. What are you doing in the stairwell, mate? Jeremy was crouched in front of him. Your eyes are all red and puffy. Your skin is freezing. Jeremy lifted Ian up by his arms, and Ian didn't resist. He stood there, limp. Looking up into the concerned eyes of his manager, he felt like a little boy who was lost and desperately wanted to be found. Did the guys give you some drugs or something? Jeremy searched Ian's eyes. You look awful. Kai slept with Lizzie, Ian choked out. Who's Lizzie? My bishop's daughter. Whoa. I don't know how to handle this. Tell me what I'm supposed to do. How am I supposed to react to this? I feel sick and heartbroken. Well, you weren't interested in her, were you? Jeremy wrapped his arm around Ian's waist, practically dragging him up the stairs. Of course not, Ian said. That's not the point. Shouldn't there be some boundaries? Shouldn't there be some unspoken rule that you don't take advantage of a good, sweet, innocent girl? Shouldn't some things be off limits? I don't know, pal. Jeremy turned the corner and they trudged up the next flight of stairs. They're both consenting adults, right? I mean, if she was the girl who was doing shots and hanging all over him last night, she didn't look so sweet and innocent. I don't want to think of her that way. Ian shook off Jeremy's arm as he pulled on the heavy door handle. It took all his effort to shoulder the door open and slip through into the hallway. He strode down the hall, paused in front of the door to his suite, and turned to his manager. I forgot to grab a key card. I'm locked out. Without a word, Jeremy pulled out a card, which he swiped to open the door. I want a separate room tonight, Ian said. And I want to be on the other tour bus today. I'm not ready to face Kai. Ian walked straight over to the room where he slept alone and collapsed onto the bed, burying himself in blankets and the numbing oblivion of sleep. Kai took the steps into the motorhome 2 at a time, but paused at the top and took a deep breath. Still not speaking to me, pal? Ian looked away from his best mate, disgust and disappointment warring with his emotions. Jeremy and 2 sound production guys who'd been playing cards with him rose from their seats and casually pushed past Kai to exit the vehicle and give the 2 guys some privacy. We're going to have to talk about this eventually, Kai hesitantly sat on the table opposite Ian, who still hadn't looked at him. We have a show in 7 hours. So that's what's bothering you? That we have a show later today and you're afraid our chemistry will be messed up because you're a complete cockroach? Ian raised his voice. You do realize I'm an adult and can do whatever the heck I want, right? You do realize certain things are off limits, right? Why? Do you have some sort of churchy claim on her? Do you think she's some sweet, innocent virgin who didn't know what she was doing last night and I somehow seduced her and lured her into my bed? I have news for you, mate. She wasn't, and I didn't, and it's none of your business anyway. How am I supposed to look my bishop in the eye knowing that one of my bandmates slept with his daughter? You can ask her that question, Kai said. She just went for a walk with Andy and Gary. They know we won't let them smoke on the tour bus. It would ruin my voice. And yours if you'd ever come back and hang out with us. She's still with you? Smoking? Yeah, she's staying with me the whole time we're in the UK. What? This keeps getting worse, Ian thought. He felt sick. Why not? She doesn't have to go back to university for another 3 weeks. We're having fun. I don't know what disgusts me more, Ian said. That she's supposed to have higher values than that? Or that you consider the intimacy between a man and a woman to be so commonplace that it's merely fun instead of a sacred union between two married people. Kai started laughing. Listen to you, preacher boy. You sound like you're delivering a sermon on the law of chastity. Ian lost it and jumped up from the table, flying across the small space and grabbing hold of Kai's shirt. Kai easily overpowered him and threw him off. Ian didn't hesitate to throw a punch toward Kai, but he blocked it. Ian tried again and again, landing a few punches here and there, but mostly wasting energy. Kai wrestled away from Ian's attempts, blocking but never returning blows. The table dislodged from the latch, holding it to the wall of the motorhome, and the couch pillow slipped out of the way. Still Ian struggled. You can't hurt me, pal, so stop trying. You're hurting me. You deserve to have me hurt you back. Ian was yelling and struggling, pushing and throwing punches. I'm sorry I hurt you. Kai raised his voice, trying to get Ian to calm down. This isn't the way to fix things. Stop trying to hit me. No! Ian wrestled and punched and smacked, and Kai blocked every shot while struggling away from him. Finally, Kai grabbed both of Ian's wrists and held him firm. They locked eyes. Ian's were hard and full of fire. Kai's resolved and calm. Stop, Kai whispered. This isn't helping anything. Ian collapsed onto the sofa next to Kai and allowed himself to be pulled into Kai's arms. There's nothing you can do to change me. Kai spoke softly as if he was consoling a baby. You're just going to have to love me through all my faults. That's what you think I have. We're best pals, bandmates, and brothers. Forgive me, please. I don't know how, Ian whispered. Yeah, you do. It's part of who you are. I don't want to yet. That's more honest, Kai said. You don't have to forgive me until you're ready. I'm not ready, Ian grumbled. Kai just held him for a long time. All right, that's the end of chapter 20, and we will start into chapter 21 on the next video. We're getting close to the end of Buxton Peak, the early years. This is one of my favorite books that I've ever written. I'm hoping that you guys are liking it also. And if you will give it a thumbs up and share it on social media and subscribe to my channel so that you'll know when the next video is available. All right, see you then.